Hi, I'm Yaniv. I'm a co-founder and project lead at The Graph. We're an indexing and query protocol for Web3. So we index data from like Ethereum and IPFS and make it available for querying over GraphQL. So if any of you guys have built dApps on Ethereum, you've probably realized that it can be really slow to query the data you need directly from an Ethereum node using the JSON RPC API. Most people have solved this by building custom proprietary indexing servers that sync the chain data, put it into a database, and then serve it over an API. And we wanted to replace this with a decentralized protocol. Earlier this year, we launched our hosted service where we defined a deterministic way to define your indexing logic for your dApps. And we launched our hosted service where we're running a bunch of these graph nodes for you that do this indexing. And we're working right now on our decentralized network where anyone can run a node to provide this indexing service to the network. So today I just want to show you some of the stuff that people are building on the graph. So this is the website, thegraph.com, and if you go to the Explorer, you can see a bunch of subgraphs that have been deployed. So a subgraph just defines how to index some subset of the graph, and there's a bunch of projects that are using us now in production, products like Moloch and DAOstack and Uniswap. And so we've got some featured subgraphs here up at the top. And if you scroll down, you can see all of these kind of community subgraphs, and people are building and deploying things every day. So let's jump into one of these. This is a Gitcoin subgraph. So most of you are probably familiar. They've got bounties for development work. And you can see the schema for this Gitcoin subgraph. So this is just a GraphQL schema. It defines these entity types, and you can see a bounty has these fields on it, and it's all relational. So who here is familiar with GraphQL? Cool, about half the room. So the quick pitch on GraphQL is it's a replacement for REST. It's the most convenient way to fetch data from a server. And basically, instead of having one endpoint per resource, you define the entire schema up front. Here's all the different entity types. Here's how they relate to each other. And then you can run a query that seamlessly traverses those relationships to get you just the data that you need. So in the Gitcoin subgraph, I can, for example, query for bounties, and for each bounty, I can see what data is available. So maybe I want to get let's see, we can see this bounty data, and inside the bounty data, there's a title and description. And let's say that I just want the first 5, then I can hit play, and I get that data right away. And then I have this GraphQL public HTTP and WebSocket endpoint that I can use for my application to just query that data directly and get it really quickly. Some other cool things that are here, there's this ppith subgraph. And what's cool about this ppith one is they actually store a lot of data on IPFS. So it would actually be a lot of work to try to stitch all of this data together. But the subgraph combines the data from Ethereum and IPFS. And that way, if I want to come here and, for example, grab the first few peeps, so I can say first 10, and I want to get the content. And then this is an example of how you can traverse across relationships. So let's say I want to get the account. So I guess for those that don't know, ppith is a Twitter clone. So the peeps are kind of like the tweets. And then I want to see the person that made the peep, so I can get their name and their avatar URL, hit play, and I get that. So just like this, I could build a Twitter clone really easily. So we think the really promising thing about Web3 is building this kind of global machine of all of these contracts and rules and logic that are shared, and build up this kind of global API where it acts kind of as a global database, but you need a way to organize that data and make it efficiently accessible to the clients. And so that's what the graph does. here. So we're engaged right now with Metacartel DAO. For those of you that don't know, they're funding dApps on top of Ethereum. We think there's enough of the pieces in place now to actually build real usable dApps. So if you're interested in getting involved in building dApps on Ethereum, please check out like Metacartel. And I think by stitching together these protocols and making it easier for developers to build, we can see our get to a place in maybe even the next like 6 months where we have real usable dApps being built on this stuff. So really excited for that future. Thank you very much.